What's up, everybody? Jensen Cummings of the Best Served podcast here. I am fired up to be talking with you tonight. We are launching Best Served Fireside, a 5-part series that we're doing, Fireside 5. We're really delving in through this 5-part series of something we call the Paragon Pillars, 2 outcome goals that we have for the restaurant industry to hopefully create a more equitable, profitable, and sustainable business model for the restaurants world. Those 2, one, we really focused on to start was to get to a place of 75% employee retention and satisfaction. And we know when 73% turnover rate is the industry norm, we have a massive mountain to climb. Yet we think with some of the strategic thinking and the new models that we've seen playing out in some restaurants, there's an opportunity. The second is to get to a place at flow state, single unit operations, to be able to maintain a year-on-year average net profit of 19%. And again, industry standard, 7 to 8%. It seems like an impossibility, but what we believe is that if we understand the 112, 116, 132 line items in the P&L operating budgets of a restaurant and create stakeholders and partners versus the norm of vendors and being transactional, we think there's an opportunity to invest in different models that create that possibility. So that's what we're really focused on.
Equal pay, basically for all of our hourly employees. Managers are not included, but when I opened a net, I thought it was really important that everybody make the same money no matter what your position is in the restaurant.
People also want to have a clear sick day system. They want to know that they're going to be able to go back to work if they miss a couple days. They want to know that they're going to be allowed to take time off, especially if, God forbid, they get COVID. Staying transparent, letting people know what's going on, what's going on with our financials. Is it possible that I'm going to come in tomorrow and the door is going to be locked?
When you think about investing in your employees, it's super important that one of the things that you invest is time. And I think that's often overlooked. But the reality is you have to, buzzword communicate. You have to have those one-on-one conversations, and you have to make it a point to check in with people and find out what it is that they want, what it is that they need, make them aware of the fact that you're interested in their personal health and well-being, and you want to create a system and a business and a company and a culture that allows them to continue to grow professionally, whether that's with us, with you, with somebody else.
The restaurant industry has literally reversed itself, where there used to be discrimination against hiring older people. But then when we had 3.5% or whatever, super low employment in the United States, people started wanting to hire older people again. But now it's like flipped on its head. So you have a lot of the quick service restaurants that are definitely still in business, and they have pickup, drive-through, whatever. They're able to suppress wages and suppress benefits and whatever, and they're in the turnover model again. And why do they do this? Why don't they do sustainable models? Because it's not easy, and every business is different. And if it was easy and they're making money, then they would do it. I think fine dining, we're in Colorado, so what's going to happen in the winter?
The United States have been paying way too little for their food. So I think it's time for the entire country to understand and accept that we are now frontline. We are putting ourselves in danger, and we still love it. So in order to keep us in business, you're going to have to pay for that service. If you don't want to cook at home, you're going to have to pay a lot more than what we're looking at right now. And I don't know how to make that pill easier to go down, but I can't imagine that anyone is going to be able to get out of this without a major shift in mindset from everyone, not just you guys working hard in the restaurants, but from the entire community that we serve, to understand that we just can't keep doing what we were doing. It wasn't working before, and it is absolutely not working now.
We're going to talk a lot about restaurant operations, the budget, P&L, marketing, all of it, distill that down into some of the new thinking, specific tactics and deployments that our panel is utilizing.
Supporting each other, always important, but now more than ever.
Can't say enough about how important it is to constantly be targeting your guests with not just come spend money, but what's in it for them. That's something I've really learned to focus on is the what's in it for you message.
And in order for you to be profitable, revenue-driven thinking is what you really have to think about, not cost-cutting thinking.
With soon to be 4 locations, consistency is the key across all of them.
About how do we make things on the fly, really, marketable for people to go, which was a lot of donuts and a lot of coffee.
Take good care of my business, then my job is take good care of the revenue. And my revenue come in through marketing.
Restaurants are now driving commerce. We are bringing people to areas where they're going to go shopping, not going shopping and then out to eat. Yes. And so I think that if we can bring people in and show them that we are directly giving back to the communities of which they continue to spend their money in, and it's not going someplace else and then to some organization, some charity event that they may not even have ever heard about, it's going to organizations that they work with or know about, or they have somebody who's being helped by them or whatever it may be. I think that's ever so important.
How passionate I am, and we've always been about supporting local vendors and local businesses. Right. I think it means a lot just as a small business owner to support my other fellow small business owners. And I also think our guests like seeing local brands that they either have heard of or would like to know more.
A lot of talking and a lot of working together instead of, competing. The best thing to do, I think, is to work together and become a team and not try to compete, because the best thing to do is take that approach so that you can all help each other out and say, what are you doing? What's working for you? What's not working? And that's how we move forward individually, but also collectively as an industry. We have to help each other. It's so important.
Chat 3 now, we're really searching the supply chain. We want to focus on places in the supply chain that we have opportunities. I am not going to tell you this is the way that you do X, Y, and Z with your business. What I am very big on is asking questions, surrounding ourselves with very smart people like the panel we have here, and being able to find your own best practices.
I think tech needs to help us go back to what we're good. For you guys, chefs, it means being in the kitchen, teaching your people.
We need to embrace regionality. We need to embrace seasonality. We need to embrace local.
And go out there and meet the farmers. Go do a farm visit and see what's really going on.
But if the independent restaurant can deal with the independent family farm meat supplier or produce supplier or whatever, then they have the opportunity to truly differentiate themselves and promote that to a customer base that honestly cares.
Who you're working with, what's the product that's going on your plate, why it's so important for the community to be part of it is really important. I mean, we believe that a sustainable food economy is a local food economy.
We want to connect to the supplier and help that line, because there's no transparency in prices on the other side, and there is monopoly, like Mike was saying, and there's lack of traceability.
Don't price shop. Stop this aggressive price shopping consumerism that the Walton family, Sam Walton, taught us 50 years ago. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot or in the head. I mean, you've got to stop looking for the cheapest of everything, because it undermines and destroys an economy from the very roots of that economy.
We need to help change the consumer to get them out of the cheapest is best, because cheapest is worse, and it's ruining the environment, it's ruining the economy.
Think together. If we work and we use tech in a better way, not so that Justin wants to throw the phone in the kitchen, but we can use it in a better way to create a better system and to have a better industry altogether. I think we can definitely get there.
Be true to yourself. Create a concept that you want to go to. Don't water it down to try to please everyone, because you'll in turn end up pleasing no one.
So I think that's really important to, cover yourself, especially in places where you may not have all the control.
One thing we may see more of is that some restaurants and tents may be more willing to pay for outdoor space.
Still, the most important thing I think for people to keep track of is the basic blocking and tackling of leases and keeping themselves protected from the basic issues, instead of going for things that are really very, very unlikely.
I have a really unique understanding of issues that go on with restaurants that people who may not have worked in the industry don't quite understand, that I can transfer into lease language and make sure my clients are adequately covered on issues that people, again, who may not have been in that situation would think is a big deal.
So have a plan. Have somebody that, you're not just, out there kind of wandering around, kind of aimlessly trying to figure out what you want to do. Have a solid plan, and it makes a difference. And if you can put it on paper and articulate it, even better.
There's sites, and then there's all of the what goes into developing the restaurant that are a bunch of hidden costs that if the space itself doesn't lend itself to be a restaurant, it can cost you, way more to renovate a place. I always have people talk to me about second generation restaurants and how they want one of those because it's cheaper. And, 9 times out of 10, it's about the same cost.
We view the infill development and redevelopment we do is we've been going into, I think, emerging, interesting markets. And to create the places that we want to create, I mean, it's the bars and the destination restaurants that bring that attraction and anchor a neighborhood.
This week, we're focused on creating a coalition for what's next. Restaurant legislation and regulation, how we navigate, understanding where your voices lie, how you can navigate that space, what resources you have.
Luckily the restaurant industry as a whole is that we're very careful. We are dealing with people with public health at all times. So we follow things very, very diligently to begin with.
But here's where I've seen people be creative and actually do well with it. Putting packages together, putting fun cocktails that they pair with their food or their meals.
Education and compliance first before enforcement. For you, that lets us reach our goal. You are compliant, right? That also is less expensive for us because we don't have to write a ticket and we don't have to come back and we don't have to go to court. So our city is about education and compliance, enforcement as the last chance, the last tool.
And so we've worked really hard on trying to promote not only more of an educational partnership relationship between the local public health officials and the restaurants, and that's been really huge, but also focusing their efforts on the bad actors that just don't care or aren't even trying.
Advocacy is super important, and advocacy with credibility and information is powerful.
It takes people reaching out and just letting us know what you need in order for us to be able to get that done and your lawmakers to be able to get that done.
For us, without the extension of the PPP, we would not have been open by now.
One of the things we learned that on average, restaurants need to be at a 75% capacity level just to be able to stay open kind of midterm. And what we're hearing from the National Restaurant Association is this is likely to be the last recovery package for the year.
So, to be very honest, like we still need more financial assistance. And that comes with the Independent Restaurant Coalition Restaurant Act, what's going on with NRA in Congress. But to be very, very direct, it's going to be nearly impossible without more financial assistance for businesses to survive.